Hello there, another Thunderbirds video for you today. I'm recording this as the brand new episode of Thunderbirds I Go is on TV as we speak, or as I speak. I've missed the start of it, but it's recording, so I'm going to watch it when it's done. I thought I might record a Thunderbirds video while it's recording. So in front of you are 3 pod vehicles. That's what today's video is, Thunderbirds pod vehicles. Now, these 3 here require no introduction, are obviously the recovery vehicle, the mole, and the firefly. Now, some of you might not sort of recognise these pod vehicles. They are made by Matchbox. Now, the point of this video is to sort of have a look at the different pod vehicles made by Matchbox and the ones made by Vivid Imaginations, who make the Soundtech Thunderbirds that was released when it was sort of reshone in about the late 1990s, early 2000s. So first of all, let's have a look at these pod vehicles. Now, I searched high and low on eBay for these, and I had to wait until they were at a decent price before I could get them, because they do go for quite a high price now. As you can see, they resemble the pod vehicles that are shown in Thunderbirds to a high standard, a very high standard in fact. The Firefly here, they all have sort of their individual actions. The Firefly has its scoop that can be raised, and has little wheels underneath there that can be moved. The bucket can come unclipped as well. I thought I'd broken it when I got it a few years back, and haven't. It just comes unclipped. But you can see they're absolutely fantastic. And now, I must stress, these are not very big at all. Let me see, I've got my Tesco club card here as a sort of weight, and it fits quite nicely on that and the bucket. It's about the length of a club card. Sorry, I didn't really have anything else to hand to sort of show the size of them. But they're all roughly the same size. So the Firefly, as I say, has the moving bucket there. The mole, which is here, has a turning drill bit, which can be operated via this little, by what is in the show, this would be the jet that would propel it down, obviously because it's the jet mole. But it tilts and stays quite nicely actually. I've seen some mole vehicles where the drill bit falls back down as soon as you lift it up, but this one stays quite nicely. It can come unclipped as well, so you can play as if it's drilled into the ground without sort of breaking it. It comes off quite nicely and clips back into place quite nicely there. And then finally, the recovery vehicle. Now this again is very detailed. You can see the stickers, decals as it were, on the front there, the tubes, and on top of each of the things is a little orange button there and there, and pressing that will cause the little pistons, and now I'm going to try this so I don't lose them. Ooh. He says nothing ever goes right. Let's try this one. It's typical that it hasn't worked. It's supposed to let the little piston fire out of the recovery vehicle. Now, there we go, there's one. And let's see if the other one will do it. There we go. So they fire out. They're not attached to any string or anything like that, which is probably something that would be a good idea to do, but they're not attached to strings, so they do get lost quite easily. But it's quite cool that they fire out on the well, supposed to fire out on the press of a button. They're a little bit rusty there. At least they don't fire out willy-nilly, as it were. I suppose that's one saving grace. So them and them 3, I love these vehicles. I really do. As I say, I spent ages looking for them, and the detail on them is fantastic. Which, I mean, anybody who collects toys, which I may do somewhat, yes, I do. You look for things that are realistic. Now, Vivid Imaginations came along and they remade the Thunderbirds vehicles and the Tracy Island and the supersized vehicles and the late 1990s, early 2000s, as I say. Now their version of pod vehicles were. Now I want to say they're a little bit more cartoony, a little bit more. They still resemble the pod vehicles, but I don't know. I never quite liked them. To be fair, the only good part about getting them was you got a little minifigure with them there. So there's Virgil in there, and I do believe that if I can lift this up, this should be Virgil in one of the heat suits. No, Brains in a heat suit, even better. Brains in a heat suit. I think it's supposed to be Virgil in this one, but my 7-year-old self. Not 7-year-old, sorry, my 9-year-old, well, however old I was, lost the minifigure because I was not a collector back then, obviously. But these ones they just seem a little bit cartoony. The same things still apply. The drill still moves. You can still tilt it. It stays up quite well, and it still comes off for role play. But they're just a bit. The scales are a wee bit out of whack, I think. The Firefly there, I've lost one of the antennae. Oops. Again, my younger self was a little bit childish and didn't collect and didn't look after them properly. The biggest thing that annoyed me when I bought this, and I remember this even as a kid, was there was no gun. There were cannon, as it were, on the front, which was like the iconic bit. And even worse, the holes cut into the bucket shield there. Same as it is there for it, only it's not there on the actual model. So that's a bit of a shame, really. But out of the two, the variety is better on this. I do believe Vivid Imaginations re-released their small Thunderbird 2 with a recovery vehicle when it was the anniversary. And I do believe that they released a Mole and Firefly that were slightly longer in a pack with the supersized Thunderbird 2 now. These ones are the ones that were carded separately. And I used to just use them with my Thunderbird 2, which is the point I'm moving on to in a minute, but I'll talk about that in a second. But initially they were released separately, but these pod vehicles obviously only being released separately, but were much higher quality, as you can see. Another reason for me showing these is that when I went to buy them, I thought I'd have a look on YouTube for a little video to see if anybody had done what I'm doing now with them, and they hadn't. I couldn't find any videos for them, which is, I sort of wanted to make one for other people who are thinking of buying them and they wanted to try and get a sense of how big they are, because as I say, they do go for quite a bit of money on eBay, etc. Now, the other point I wanted to talk about was the scaling, as I've touched on briefly, but to do with the Thunderbird's pod. So over here, I'm going to move them to the side for a second, and we're just going to use the Firefly for this sort of demonstration. I have a Thunderbird 2 pod from Vivid Imaginations from the supersized Thunderbird 2 Soundtech, and a pod from Thunderbird 2 Matchbox. Now, putting the Firefly into the pod here, the scale looks wrong again. It might be me remembering it wrong, but I mean, I've watched Thunderbirds quite a lot because it's one of my all-time favourite shows, obviously, hence all the merchandise. But this Firefly going in here looks a lot more what I remember in the shows. The pod wasn't the exact size of the vehicle. It was like a container that the vehicle would go inside, so, which is a really bad way of putting it. I'm sure that people in the comments will have their own view on this. This is purely my opinion, but it just, the scale seems a lot nicer for the Matchbox ones. If I turn it to a side there, it just seems like it was in the show, like the vehicle would come out not completely filling the pod itself. I'm really bad with the words today. I don't know what it is. I'm a bit tired. I'm sure that people watching will get the idea what I'm trying to say. The pod vehicle in here, it looks as if it was designed to fit this pod. It's just big enough to go in, etc. This one looks as if it was designed, and the vehicles fit in the pod but don't fill it. Same with the mall. It doesn't look overly sized. I don't know, put that on there. They don't stay on the door very well, which is the ramp. But it looks perfect coming out. I think I remember a couple of years ago I took a picture and used it as a desktop image because I really liked how it looked with the Thunderbird 2. That's a bit silly. But no, it was just a quick video showing that. I have, as I say, I've kept these really, really well because I absolutely adore them. It took me ages to find them at a decent price, and now I've got them. I was so impressed with them. So I just wanted to do a quick video to show them on camera. I have got various other Thunderbird merchandise. I have 2 versions of the Tracy Island, 2 versions of Cloud Base as well, some Captain Scarlet stuff there. I have the supersized vehicles, and I have some smaller vehicles as well. I do want to get around to doing videos on them all because it seems to be in quite high demand online for Thunderbird sort of videos. So if you have any requests for what you'd like to see me look at next, by all means let me know and I will do a review on those next. Thank you for watching the video if you've watched it. Thank you for staying till the end if you were such a boring person like myself and you stopped and watched 10 minutes of this rubbish. Please like my channel, like the video. Please feel free to share this video and get people to subscribe to my channel. I have got other stuff to review, as I say. Well, not review. Right, let's clear this up. I keep saying review. I don't mean review because I'm sure many other people can review them better than me. It's more like a look at video, for just a showcase video, really. I'm not reviewing them, although I do give my opinions on them. The merchandise I bought, I wouldn't have bought if I didn't like it. So, with that, again, thank you very much for watching. And I shall see you soon. Bye-bye.